Hi everyone. Today we are discussing the topic is constructors and destructors. So constructors is a special member function whose the task is to initialize the object of its class. So once the object is initialized, automatically the constructor will be called by the declaration itself. So it is a special because the name of the constructor is the same name of the class name. So it is constructor because it constructs the value of the object members of the class. It will be invoked whenever the object of its class will be associated or it will be created. So the characteristics of the constructors, so it should be declared in the public section. So what is the meaning of this? So we are having in C++ programming, we are having three types of access specifier. One is private, another one is protected, another one is public. So these three types of access specifier can be implemented with the help of the inheritance concept. Once the class members can be declared in the public, automatically it will be available in all type of classes what are the associated in the single program. If the class object or class members can be declared in the productive representation or other type of data members can be used in wherever the class will be derived from the base class itself. So one, for example, I can create a class A and I can derive the class B from A class. So if I'm declare the data members in A class is a protector, so it will be the A class data members will be available in B class also because these are two will be representing or these two are will be connected with the inheritance. So the next one, private. So private will once the class member can declared as a private, it will not allow outside the class members. So in this constructor can be declared in the public section. That means it can be available in all type of classes once the program will be ended. So it can be invoked automatically when the object is created. It does not having any return type and also return values. The constructor does not having any parameters or it representing as a default parameter. So based upon the parameter passing or based upon the parameter inside the constructor, it can be classified the constructor types. So based upon the parameter values, we can classify the constructor types in various types of constructor representation. If the constructor function can be defined in the outside the class with the help of the scope resolution operator. So it invokes it having so many types of constructor. So in this representation, we are having a default constructor, parameterized constructor, and copy constructor. So first default constructor, the constructor does not having any parameters. So it is called default constructor. So this is an example of constructor. So in this program, we are having a integer is a class name. In this int m and n having a private member because we are not representing any scope resolution operator. If I'm not representing any scope resolution operator, the compiler will take it as a private default access specifier in default representation. The next one integer because it is identified as a constructor because it will be a same name of class name. Inside the function constructor, we are representing void, that is no parameter inside the constructor. So automatically identified it is a default constructor. In this constructor, that is member function does not having any inside the coding representation. So that type of declaration will be representing in the outside with the help of scope resolution operator. So in this representation, how the constructor will be called? So with the help of your object declaration, that is integer int1. So this is the object name. So this is a class name, it is object name. So in this object int1 is created. So automatically we can identify that the constructor will be called. So default constructor, this is the example for default constructor. I already told the default constructor does not having any parameter inside the function name. So in this cube is a class name. So this cube is representing as a constructor. Inside does not having any parameter value. So automatically it will be identifying as a default parameter. So in this representation, the cube C, so C is object. So in this representation, C dot side, so this is a function call. Automatically it will be identifying this function representation. So the next one, parameterized constructor. So in this parameterized constructor, the constructor having a parameter list that is int x and int y. So we can declare the define the constructor outside the class. So in this I can use a scope resolution operator. So in this example, we can represent the parameterized constructor can be called with the help of two representation. One is explicit call, another one is implicit call. So based upon the initial value will be given to the object, at that time the constructor function will be called. So based upon these two conditions, we are identifying the constructor calling representation two types. One is explicit, that is that the declaration part is integer int one. So this object name equal to class name of that parameter value. So otherwise, if you are representing implicit call, directly you can give the values in the object name itself. So this is a shortened method. So most probably we are using a implicit call representation for the parameterized constructor. So this is example in this cube int x. So this is a parameterized constructor. So in this I can represent C1 is object name of 10. So automatically it will be identifying this parameterized constructor. So the next one, copy constructor. So the copy constructor, once the object is initialized to the another object. So I can create a two object, for example, C1 and C2. So in the C1, I can directly assign the C2 value to C1. So it is a copy constructor. Once the object in this object representation, whatever it may be, whatever inside the object, all the data will be copied to another object, means that is copy constructor. It is takes a reference to an object of the same class of the argument. So for example, copy constructor in this representation int x and y. So we are having this copy constructor in this representation. For example, in this object, I can create a one object, and finally I can create a object 2. So directly I can assign the object to object 2. So that is single object. I can assign the object to object 2. So automatically all the data will be copied to object 2 also. So whenever I can change the object, automatically it will be reflected in the object 2 itself. So this is a copy constructor. So we are having another type of constructors also, that is dynamic constructor. So dynamic constructor means once the data will be used to store the data in the form of representation runtime. So this is a dynamic constructor. So next one, destructor. Once the object is defined, at the time the function is called constructor. So when the object is destroyed, at the time we are calling a representation of function, that is destructor. So how can you identify the destructor function? With the help of tilde symbol. So the tilde symbol used to identify the destructor. The destructor is also same name of class name. So what is the difference between constructor and destructor? Constructor is member function, special member function, and destructor is also a special member function. So the constructor will declare the class name itself. The destructor will declare the tilde class name with the tilde symbol. So the constructor having a different types, that is default parameter is copy constructor, but destructor does not having any types. The constructor will be called when the object is created. The destructor will be called when the object is destroyed. So this is a representation of constructor and destructor. Thank you.